sport, the privileged environment of professional sports.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of the news. We're now going to throw over to the Super League match reviews, where we have 4 games to discuss this week. What sweets are you opening?
It's a crunchy.
So, Super League match reviews time. This is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. You can find a wide range of gifts, toys, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop. On any orders over £5, you can earn 5% cash back, and 1% of your order value will also come straight to the SLP coffers by putting SLP discount at checkout. And also you can give us all of your cashback if you want. Rob will do that if you want to support SLP that way. Right, it was round 12. Finished off round 12.
Finally.
Separated by months rather than weeks or days, but round 12 has been completed. The average attendance across round 12 was 8,324, although in this weekend's games, in just those 4, it was 9,055, so that's a positive uptick from where we'd been in the weeks before, but you'd expect that when it was the top 8 from last year facing off against each other. And the first game we saw, possibly the most exciting, one of the most exciting of the season so far, was on Thursday night. It was Hull FC 19, Leeds Rhinos 18, in front of 11,391, who watched Ben Failer be the referee, and Hull lead 8-0 at half-time, but then just cling on at the end. We've had a lot of people get in touch on this one. I'm not happy about the order of these, how they've fallen. So you can start with the first one, and then I'll have to do the second one.
Okay, starting with Dr. Bob Phillips, of course, the Leeds fan. Game of 2 halves with mistakes aplenty by the Rhinos, and still growing sense of game management leading us to lose again with a drop goal. At least we got to see the beauty of WBW do what he's picked for England for. That's standing for World's Best Winger, of course, referring to Ryan Hull, and see why Kelly is actually
World's biggest
winger. World's bounciest winger, possibly. Yeah. And because he probably bounces quite a bit these days when he hits the deck. And see why Kelly is actually quite good, annoyingly. At least Sneyd mostly forgot how to kick.
Yeah. Fat Boy Rob.
I'm going to be checking these off to see you got the right number.
Says laughing emoji, 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 laughing emoji. That times about 20.
Imagine that times 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler FBR fan says penalty tries, touchline conversions, missed kicks, women drinking pints. This game had it all. Hull had it in the bag. Leeds dragged themselves back. Hull came back again. Sneyd stakes a claim as drop goal king. Great game for Hull and the neutral. # buy more toys.
Carsten said, Hull were very good in the first half, but pretty nervous in the second half. Leeds with some very bad defensive reads. 2 show and goes from Connor for tries is too cheap. Sneyd's missed conversions nearly brought the 14-0 curse back. That's the Penrith Panthers who suffer that curse, isn't it? But he can kick drop goals. Brusco was caught out twice under the high ball and never tried it again, something the other teams will remember. No comment to Brian McWhinger.
I think we might have to steal that as his name going forwards. John Hamilton said, a drop goal attempt from a ruck so close to the line, ? The defence is 9 metres closer to the kicker, ! Ultimately, Leeds didn't switch on till too late, and when we got 4 points ahead, switched off again, maybe thinking defence would hold this week? ? I don't know why I've started doing every bit of punctuation. Tough way to lose the second week in a row, but well played Hull. No
You missed the hyphen off, didn't you?
Probably did, yeah. But there's no punctuation to end it, so we don't know how that ends. Well played Hull? ? I don't know.
Okay, so Lee Whitnell said, this was a really compelling game to watch as a neutral, but I'm sure it was agonising to watch as a fan. Hull were the best team over the 80 and deserved the win, but credit to Leeds for making it a real contest, almost turning their 15 minutes of ascendancy into 2 points. Sneyd was unusually poor with the boot, but made amends with the drop goal to seal it.
Rich Langley, good to hear from him, said, well, now my BP has returned to normal, I can send in a review. That's what RL should be like, end to end, a comeback comeback and another comeback, and then a snidey drop goal, standard for FC games. Here's hoping that we've turned a corner and the injury crisis won't be holding us back anymore. The top four is back on! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
Joshua's granddad said, "Twitchy bum time, but cometh the hour, cometh the man, not deterred by his missed conversions, up stepped Snade, game over." At 14-0, all that was needed was sensible game management, but a string of penalties gave Leeds a way back into the game. Great catch and pass by Talanoa to put the game level. Thankfully, Briscoe still crap under the high ball, as in recent games. Shaw could have stayed down. JJB walks for 10 or a red.
Do we want to touch on the JJB incident, or should we come back to it?
We'll come back to the talking points. We'll come back to it.
So to move on to Sarah, who said, not a perfect match, but brilliant to beat Leeds. I think the return of Mini, Manu and Hadley was noticeable. Mini still concedes too many penalties. An off night from the tee from Sneed, but thankful he came good when needed.
Cutthroat Jake said, well, that was a distinct improvement on last week's debacle. Hull were great and thoroughly deserved the win. It was good to see the Leeds collection of old war horses, young bucks and has-been centres showing real character and almost managing to steal the match from Hull's big pack. This bodes well for when we can play proper props at prop instead of makeshift stand-ins.
And finally, Phil Nadin, a Hull FC fan, says, a great first half from FC, had control of the half and kept Leeds subdued for most of it, with some great defence on Hull's line. The second half was about Leeds from the get-go, with some good attacking moves and offloading off the ball, which gave them quick tries. A penalty put Leeds ahead, but some great play from Hull squared it up, and a drop goal from Sneed sealed the points.
Right, so the first thing you were sort of raising to touch on was the JJB thing. Is this the instant where there was actually no real incident to talk about?
Where it was a penalty, if that.
It was a penalty because he touched him when he was in the air, but he wasn't trying to deck him. He didn't contact him around the head.
It wasn't dangerous. Both players were...
It wasn't late.
Both players were perfectly in control and were going to come down very quickly. I mean,
I think if it had stayed down, it wouldn't have been a sin bin. It would have been the same decision. In fact, it would have been clearer. The same decision would have been clearer because there would have been... The video ref would have seen there was no head contact. I'm almost certain I can't remember that there was a head contact. I think it just, because of the speed kind of Shaw was going at and the fact that he was off the ground, kind of made it look worse. But I can't remember it being a head contact situation at all.
No, I think I put at the time that I think I was okay with just a penalty, and I think that I sort of watched it back, and I don't think it's anything that you could actually give anything proper for. FC, really couldn't capitalise on the chances they had in the first half. They
were miles the better team in the first half, completely the better team. I feel like they should have been up by more throughout the game, really. That first 45, 50 minutes, they were by far the best team. When Leeds decided to turn up and get going, at that point, like you say, should have been out of sight.
And there was definitely some questionable defence from Leeds in that first half. It looked very raggedy and just almost like they hadn't played together.
Well, the Jake Connor try was the first one. The first try for Hull was really weak tackling, wasn't it? It was good interplay and good set-up play to catch a man off balance, but still, I think first contact on him was 20 metres out. You'd expect better there from a champion side. And then the Burrito Ferramo one, that was just garbage defensive reads. It was, do you know, a player that I don't want to single out necessarily, but just because of how surprised I was that I thought he was so off the pace in this game, particularly defensively, was Stevie Ward, who's a player I really, really love normally. It was the worst game I've seen him play since he was
breaking through. Yeah. No, I did notice Ward a couple of times, and I thought he looked off. Now I don't know if he's carrying another.
He did go off injured later on, didn't he?
Well, he is. I think I've written down Biscuit Ward's breaks again, because he's fast becoming the Sean O'Loughlin of Leeds.
Well, if he can have the same sort of championship longevity. Champion longevity that Lockers has eventually had, then they'll be okay with that, I suppose. I think a lot of the reviews covered it all pretty well in terms of all of that stuff. I actually felt Leeds were going to win. I must admit, I thought once they got going, I didn't expect them to stop. But the problem in this game was neither team could help themselves from conceding needless penalties that really were able to switch the game around, because both sides were relying on penalties to make ground, because the defences were actually pretty good, and the goal line defences off the back of that were reasonably good too. It was just, if you keep putting yourself under pressure, and Hull started putting themselves under pressure with some errors as well as penalties in that middle of that second half, which begs back to that lack of game control kind of situation.
Yeah, there was one penalty in the first half which was for a high shot on Anthony Mullally, and I'll be honest, I think high shots on Mullally should probably be rewarded rather than punished. It should probably be a straight reversed penalty. A feat of gymnastic engineering, or just because he's a vegan and you're not a fan? It's not the vegan. I've got nothing against vegans. It's just more the hair and the greasy and the just general semi-grub nature, and it's just like, just put a high shot in, it's fine. Carry on.
Fair enough. Before we talk about who I think the player of the game was in this one, and we're going to have to practice our kind of drunken, maybe more than just drunken drawl to talk about that fella in a second, as we call him out for certain things. I just want to talk about Leeds' drop goal situation that John Hamilton touched on. That was absolutely abysmal. The fact that they went to set up for a drop goal from a yard out from the line is just utter nonsense. They obviously are really not, I know, and applaud them for trying to win games by tries, but they weren't trying to win this game with tries. They were trying to kick a drop goal at that point to tie it up, and they got the setup so miserably bad that any defence, even at that stage of the game, with that much on, a point on the line, and with a home crowd roaring them on, are gonna close that opportunity.
And it
down.
wasn't like it was what you've seen a couple of times in the NRL, particularly, is where they've done a fake drop goal, where they've obviously set it up as a play, where they've done the fake drop goal attempt, which has turned into a try, which because that's the play they've deliberately run. It was just sheer incompetence that they went for the drop goal and just didn't think it through.
Why did they go so close? Anyway, that was baffling. Best player on the park for me was Albert Kelly. Jake Connor gets some plaudits. I also think that Taylor and Mickey Paya were very good, but Albert Kelly was like
pre-McDonald's Albert Kelly was very good, yeah.
Well, exactly. This is the problem. When he plays so well, he thinks he's got reason to go out and celebrate, and then he gets a bit of a hunger on, and then, shock horror in Hull, there's going to be 50% of the people are going to give him shit. He needs to learn to kind of distance himself from that sort of stupidity, obviously, and that's unsavoury stuff. But what we saw on the pitch, he showed a great array of skills. Long passes, short passes, inside passes, set up his opposite defenders.
A bit of a fade line as well on his run as well.
Yeah, he did absolutely everything with the ball in this game for Hull FC, and he was clearly the most exciting attacking outlet. I think on the flip side, Joel Moon maybe doesn't have as much of a role to play when Leeds start getting their offloading game going, when he's in the halves, because that's kind of the improvised stuff that he should be delivering. But when they start doing it around him everywhere else, with people like Cuthbertson and Ablett and Watkins and all these other players getting involved with that, maybe it doesn't. And Ferris came on as well, and he likes an offload. Maybe that doesn't help to play to the strengths of his game, whereas Hull set up to play to the strengths of Albert Kelly completely by making sure he got on the ball in good position, good time, good space, and he really put Leeds to the sword as a result. So it's just a shame that he went and was such an arsehole after.
Another controversial incident was that penalty try in the second half. Now, what did you make of that? Because for me, it definitely was. It wasn't malicious, but it's still dangerous. Although, of course, if Billy Slater did that, it would be fine.
To me, Paul O'Brien said it was a penalty try when I asked him on a DM. So to me, it's a try. It's a penalty try. You can't play at the ball with your foot when someone else is going to pick the ball up. You can't play at the sort of man catching it with your foot, as far as I understand it, in the way that he did. It played across him. It was like a trip. So, and it prevented a clear try scoring opportunity. So I think it ticks the boxes.
I think it did. The only question I had was, Hull were on a team warning just 2 minutes before that. So should that man have been binned?
Well, I think it's kind of the rugby